In one of my more recent videos, I had one of my lovely viewers leave a comment asking me if I could do a video showing sort of like the entire process of my marketing involved with any one of my new releases. So, after spending days thinking about it, because there's actually a lot there, and writing roughly 4 pages of very scribbled notes, I'm going to give it a go. Today, we're going to be talking about the marketing process for my book, The Love He Could Keep, which is Apollo's story, book 17 of the Gods Made Me Do It series, that will be coming out and going on pre order on December the 6th, 2025. Now, I am recording this. And this is not usually relevant because you guys all know, who if you've been with me a while, that I usually batch make my content. So I will actually be doing 4 videos today. But I had to get this one done because it's actually been quite mind consuming. But the date for this one is relevant. So today it is, as I am recording this, it is the 8th of November, 2025. And yesterday, on the 7th of November, I sent my book, Apollo's book, to my editors. I had finished it, typed the end, yay, happy dance time. Yes, well, the work doesn't stop just because you've typed the end. And so this is what we're going to talk about today. Now, the marketing for Apollo's story actually started back in, I'm going to say it was probably August/September of this year. And when I was mentioning in passing in posts on my social media and in the back of my books that I was publishing at the time, that I was thinking about writing Apollo's story as my next God series book. And so I was already teasing the idea, 3-4 months before. And then I also did some polls for my readers to see if they even wanted Apollo's story, or if they had another idea. And then when it was decided I was going to write Apollo's story, I started sharing things like my character inspiration board. Again, this is all through my social media posts. It's just little hints here. Okay, well, she's actually going to write this one. Now, the thing is when you're doing that, you're just building anticipation. The book is still months away, but by seeding these little things, mentioning it in other posts, not making it a big deal, it's not a headline thing. It's just one of those little casual asides that slip into the conversation that I have with so many people online all the time. So we're geared up. I'm going to be writing Apollo's story. Now, during the writing process, this is when a lot of my marketing actually gets done. I do it all on social media, so it's all completely free. Now, on any given week, I will put up roughly 6 to 8 unique posts on social media. And by unique posts, I mean unique like to Facebook. But then I will reuse those same posts in different orders for Threads, Blue Sky, whatever. I redo my content. But I have roughly 6 to 8 different posts that I do every week that help showcase who I am as a person, what it is I'm doing in my life at the time. And roughly 3 to 4 of those posts will also be writing related. Now, one of these will be a throwback Thursday to one of my older titles. One of those will be a tiny teaser, which is usually for the book that is currently on pre-order or selling then. And then I always do at least one post that relates in some way to the book I am writing. Now, there's a number of things you can do with this. It could be, I have seen authors have a lot of fun with autocorrect acting badly, or I have seen other instances where they've written something and just written the wrong word. And of course, it changes the whole context of a sentence, and they'll showcase them on their social media. I also include things like research links, because if I'm looking for things, like I think in one of the previous books I did, I was looking for a specific type of house in a specific area. So I needed to know if that house was available. So I always use real estate online sites for that. And if I can find the house I'm looking for, then that can become my character's home. And I will post about that. I will ask about writing advice, word advice, all sorts of things, just little things like, oh, I think one of them that pertained to Apollo's story was, what was the word used to have a fear of paranormal people? Things like that. And I always ask my readers. They are the best sources of information, and it's always fun to interact with them and to hear what they've got to say. Apollo's story was also really, really good. My readers certainly came to the party with this one for me, because I decided my characters were going to take a road trip in a commercial truck from Buffalo to Denver in the United States. I live in New Zealand. I've never been to the United States, and I can see it on Google Maps, but it's not like I can drive along the whole distance using their Street View thingy to see what it's like. So I put a post out to my readers. The first instance I did it on my Patreon. I said, oh, hey, look, this is where my characters are going from here to here. Is there anything like noteworthy that they might see? Is there anything you would suggest, and what have you? And I showed them a screenshot of the Google Maps, and my Patreons streamed in heaps of advice of different places my characters could go, changes to their route, because some suggested the I-90 trip was actually quite boring. There was other readers who mentioned the things that, well, you know, commercial trucks can't go on all roads, that there was toll roads. I didn't know that they'd be covering 2 different time zone changes in that trip. I mean, it was only about 22 hours trip long, and obviously they're not doing it in 22 hours, they're doing it over days. But I didn't know things like that. But what this is doing, and why this is relevant, is because all of those people who are interacting and are helping me out with advice, wonderful suggestions, they're all got it seeded in the back of their head. Lisa's writing that Apollo story. So anyway, that is what is important. And I always, of course, drop it in again, really casually. This is going to be my December release. Now, at that point, I didn't even have a title for my book, but it didn't matter. We all knew it was going to be Apollo's story, and it was going to be coming out in December. So I am talking about this like 2 to 3 months in advance. Well, it'll actually be more than that, because as I say, the book's not coming out until December. And this was back in August, September, October. This was the pattern of the things, posting roughly 1 post a week, mentioning something about the book, not that, oh, I'd hit this word count or whatever else. No, this was, oh, this is happening. Oh, I'm not sure about this. This is what I researched today. But keeping it seeded. Apollo's story's coming. Apollo's story's coming. I'm writing it. That is marketing. Okay, so then, dun, 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 the book is finished. I'm sending it off to my editor. And you'd think that that would be really simple, okay? It's just you tidy up the file, you bung it as an attachment to my 2 editors that I have, and that's it. I could sit back, have a drink, whatever. No. Because when my book is finished, it doesn't mean I'm done. The same day as I send my book to the editor, my process is I will do the blurb. I will pull out tiny text teasers. I will pull out a long text teaser because they're really handy for some of the sites where I promote my books on. I will get them all together, like I'll do the front matter, the back matter, the table of contents, blah, 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 blah. So that's all done. And then I've got a blurb and I've got text teasers and I've got my long teaser and I've got my cover, all done. And then those files go onto a Dropbox file for my daughter, who is also my PA, she can start making the coming soon graphics and the out now graphics and the video trailers and that sort of thing that will all be used for social media once the book goes on pre-order. So that is all done, ready, sitting there in Dropbox, waiting for when the book goes on pre-order and we get a link for it. So that's what we've done to this point. At this point, as I sit here today, my book is still at the editors, but my graphics and everything have already been done and they're already waiting in anticipation. My daughter might not have done them quite so quickly, but she's going away for 3 weeks over Christmas. So she wanted to get things done in a hurry, which was fine. So, okay, your next stage is your book is on pre-order. You put it on pre-order. Now, I have set dates. I put my book up on pre-order on the 6th. It goes live on the 20th of the same month. Call me superstitious, call me what you like, I don't mind. That is what I do. And I have been doing that now for, well, at least all of this year and probably before that too. I just like those dates. It just works for me. So what we've got is we've got a book going up on pre-order on the 6th, and then there's 14 days, 2 weeks until it goes live. Now, as I say, this isn't happening for Apollo's story yet because it hasn't gone on pre-order. But if we could take my current November release as an example, at the moment we're promoting Cuddles for the Bear, which is book 3 in the Assassin's Alley series. Did you see what I did there? I just dropped that casually into conversation. Did you know I've got a pre-order out this month? Because of course I do. This is all I do. So yes, I have a pre-order out this month. That went on pre-order. I put that up on pre-order on the 6th of November. So, but yes, so that book there, Cuddles for the Bear, book 3 of the Assassin's Alley series is on pre-order in November. And what we are doing is that all those graphics and everything, of course, have already been done. And my daughter has a spreadsheet, and I think it has roughly, like the different links change. But what she did was she set up a spreadsheet. So she has the name of a Facebook group, the number of subscribers that there is in that group, the number of followers in that group or page, and then a link to that page. So that when she comes to do the promotion every day, she just clicks on a link and it takes her to that page with, from spreadsheet, takes her to Facebook, and she posts the things, which the post she's already set up and organized. And now these are, yes, a huge number of groups that all relate to my genre. They are all queer-friendly, LGBTQIA groups, reader groups. They are all except self-promotion. Now, I do need to make a note here that when you're searching for groups relating to your genres, not all groups allow self-promotion, or some will have set days you're allowed to promote yourself, or they will have set threads, perhaps once a week, where you can promote your new releases. In those cases, Holly makes a note of that next to the link of the book in the spreadsheet so that she doesn't upset any of these group admins, because of course we don't want to get cancelled. We don't want to get pushed out of the group. So these are very important things you need to take. You cannot just go posting your lovely new graphics and everything else willy-nilly all over the internet. That doesn't happen. You'll get done for spam. And another thing you have to be really careful about, that while the fact that my daughter has on this list, let's say 80 different groups that she could post my new release into, on any given day, she only does 10, 5 in the morning and 5 at night. Because if you post the same thing to different groups too often, you trigger the spam bot. And the last thing you want to have happen is for your account to be suspended when you're in the middle of a promotion for your new release while it's on pre-order. And ask me how I know that, because yes, that's happened to me in the past. That was quite a few years ago now, and we've tweaked our systems accordingly, but there is nothing more than that panic when you're somebody like myself that relies so heavily on Facebook for my promotion, to suddenly find I'm not allowed to make any posts at all for 48 hours. You might have just as well cut my arm off. It was really bad news. But anyway, so do not spam. Then another way that you can promote during this time is you have got author events. These are usually held in groups on Facebook again, and it just pays to keep an eye out for them. You'll quite often see posts that say, oh, we've got a sign-up sheet. Author such and such is, doing this event for their new release, and they're offering different spots. And you can go in there. They're all free. During this time, while the book is on pre-order, I also do tiny teasers in my group just to remind my readers that, hey, this was what I had been writing. This is for the Cuddles for the Bear, this one, obviously, and just little snippets out of the book, little snippets of text. I also do throwback posts, which are, as say, for example, with Cuddles for the Bear, that is book 3. So I will throw back and promote books 1 and 2 to get people interested in the series, and to invite them to read, the previous 2 books in the series before the 3rd one comes along, doing the rereads. I also do a freebie link for the month. So for my freebie book for November is actually the book 1 in the Assassin's Alley series. And then in December, my freebie will be 1 of the 16 other books that I've got in the Gods Made Me Do It series. And those freebie links are also, they are also promoted across the different groups and everything else to help encourage new readership. And to, with my freebie books, people do ask me why I do it. And I do it to encourage new readers. It's a long-term marketing thing. I put out a new freebie book link every month, and they only last for a month. But I have also found that a lot of my Amazon readers have been really grateful for me doing this, because, of course, they can't download their files anymore. So by my offering them a freebie link for that book, they can download that file and then read it on other devices. So it's being another way of doing something positive for my own existing readers as well. So that's another marketing tactic that I use. So is that it? Yeah, the book's on pre-order. It's done all that. I think we've covered everything there. So we move on to dun, 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 release day. Okay, and believe it or not, there's barely anything to do on release day, because you've already got the system set up. You've already been scheduling and promoting all over the place. You've already done what you possibly could do. Now, I really think that the pre-order system is a good way of marketing your book as well, because as I've pointed out in previous videos, that when you put your book on pre-order, all of those sales for the book will all come out and show as actual sales over a 24-hour period. So, for example, as I am recording this, my last actual release was this one. See what I'm doing? Another shameless plug. But anyway, this was Pointy Ears and Purple Glitter. So this was my October release. Okay. And so the pre-orders for that book came out over 2 days. And I think, because it's a 24-hour period, and I think on the first day, I think there was something like 345 pre-orders came out. And on the second day, I think there was about another 400 or something. So I had about 700 pre-orders, which was really cool. I'm really thrilled with that. And yeah, they help the book's ranking. As you know, if you've seen my book on, if you've seen my video on how to upload your books for Amazon, you pick out 3 different categories. And they are like categories, obviously, on Amazon. And so when you get a certain sort of lump sum of sales like that, your book automatically pushes up the ranking for those different categories. And that is another marketing effort, because of course, then if you've done really well, your book will be in the top 100 of that category. Or you might even, if you've got enough in the pre-order, sometimes you can be pushed up to the top 20. It has been about 4 years, I think it is, since I hit the number 1 in my category. And you get the lovely orange banner. It hasn't happened for quite a few years, but, you know, this is the changing face of self-publishing. There's a lot more competition now. And so I don't expect to do that. But if I can get into the top 20, I'm really happy. And you only stay there for a day or 2. But again, if people are looking for new releases, if they're the type of person that goes on to Amazon and is looking for, you know, a top new release in the genre they prefer to read, then they may see your book. They may never have heard of you before, but they may see your book. So that's why that's important. And it's another part of this whole marketing process, the system. But anyway, so yes, we've got to release day. And then we'll do release day posts. It's live, happy dance time, blah, blah, blah. You know, we'll do all that. If I get any early reviews, sometimes we'll showcase them. The graphics now change to out now graphics instead of coming soon graphics. I also, on release day, will do the newsletter, the blog posts, and I have another site where I do promote my work, which is QRI, Queer Romance Inc. They are run by fellow authors and they are genre specific. So I pay, I think it's about $40 a year or something, I think it is, to have a little like ad space on their website. And I can change that out every month with my different books. So that's, you know, I do that as well. So then that book, where are we up to? We're up to Cuddles for the Bear, aren't we? That book will be promoted as an out now from the 20th of November when it comes out to the 6th of December when I start with Apollo. And then that whole process all starts again. But as I say, readers are already primed and ready for Apollo. They already know it's coming. Sometimes I don't go through all this process. Sometimes I just write something because I feel like it. And then it'll be like, oh, hey, surprise. Did you know I'd just done this? And but as I say, I've always said I have the best readers on the planet, and they're usually quite forgiving for when my muse goes on a holiday and writes something I wasn't meant to. Now, one question that I do get asked a lot is, what social media platforms do you use? Which are the best ones? Now, I can't tell you what the best ones are because I can only say what has worked for me. I started this back in 2014, remember? So I have already got a very established following, small but established following on Facebook. So I use Facebook page, Facebook profile, Facebook group. I have my own private group on Facebook purely and simply for my readers. I also have my Patreon, as you know, which is a recent thing now. I've had my Patreon now for 2 years. And again, I have paid tiers for that where they see early chapters of these books. And I have free tiers on that who get to hear the updates of the different things I'm doing, and they can participate in polls and offer their opinions and everything else like that. I also have Instagram, MeWe, Blue Sky, Threads, TikTok, meh, my blog, my newsletter, and YouTube. But before you think, oh, fuck, this is just too much, and please excuse my French, but yes, if you think it's all too much, it isn't. Well, because I now have help. I did used to do all this myself, but now, as I say, I pay somebody to help me do it. But what I would suggest to you is you do not need all this. A lot of what I'm doing here, I probably could do without. So it is something that I'm going to be looking at the end of the year. What platforms I can cut back on, what sorts of things can I, can I trim down to make a system more efficient? Because it's all very well and good having systems in place, but like any system for anything, you need to tweak, you need to look at results, you need to look at what's working and what's not, and cut away some of that dead wood if you don't need it. Oh, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So, other ways that I do market indirectly. The notes I put on the back of my books. I don't know, I've mentioned this in review videos and in marketing videos. At the end of every one of my books, where I type the end or to be continued or whatever else is going to be, I leave a little note for my readers. If they've made it that far, I want to thank them for doing that. I always ask them if they would mind leaving me a review at their place of purchase. And I also mention what books are coming next. So Apollo has already been mentioned in at least 2 other books that have come out before it'll go on pre-order. You don't need to have the links to do this. You are just mentioning this is what you're doing. And that's another thing. If your reader has enjoyed the book they've just read, then they're going to be looking forward to the ones you say are coming. So I always do that. Another thing that I do, which does help in promotion and marketing generally, is that I do weekly newsletters. But my daughter has set up templates within my email program, my newsletter program. And this allows me to make sure that on any given month, I have spoken about the book I'm writing. I have spoken about the book that's coming out. I have spoken about the freebie book I've got. And I also speak about one of my social media platforms. And I also promote my Throwback Thursdays. And that's without the books I also write with JP Sale. But because they are done in a template, my lovely readers are not getting the same information every week. They are getting the information as it relates to what part of the month it is. And that makes things so much easier for me. At the beginning of every newsletter, I just put in a personal note about what I've been doing. If I've been sick, if I've been trying to make bread and it doesn't work. Sometimes I talk about my art. I always mention my books, but only in passing. As I say, it's just basically a note from me to them, letting them know I'm thinking of them. And I think that's really important too, that interaction with readers when you have them. So I do that. So that, and is also a time saver. I will actually go in and do my newsletter today. If you want to sign up for my newsletter to see what I'm talking about, you can go on to my paranormalgayromance.com website, and there is a sign up link at the box at the top. Another plug. I don't usually do that, but there's a link to all links underneath all of my videos. You can always go and see what I've got from there. Another way to market, which I think is being talked about a bit more now, but I still think is not actually recognized at how important it is the fact of writing series. I have been writing series since I started back in 2014. And I didn't realize I'd have quite so many series. And, sometimes they can be a bit like shiny objects, and I just want to chase another one or think of another one or what have you. But I have been getting a lot better in recent years in actually tying off some of these series. So I've now got completed series. Then I've got sort of open-ended series like my God series, the Gods Made Me Do It series, because they're all standalone books in that series. So they're just like in a shared world idea. So I could write as many or as little as them. It wouldn't matter. Other series like my Cloverleaf Pack series, which was the first ever series I wrote, that went on for years. I think I finished that on my 9th publiversary. It might have been my 10th. No, my 9th, I think I finished it. Wrote the last book in that series. But that was one that had to sort of like come to an end because it was actually getting a bit unwieldy for me to cope with. And I've written smaller, like trilogies, duologies. I have had books that were meant to be trilogies but ended up being duologies because I decided the story was finished. But writing series, being able to hook what you're writing or what you've put out to something else is another marketing thing that is really effective. And I strongly suggest that if you are looking at writing fiction books, that you create a series, even if it's just a shared world. But creating a series gives readers more to enjoy in the stories that you're writing. And for me, that is also a vital part of my marketing, is promoting what books are coming next in the series. And of course, this does help too, in that when you're writing series, every new release that you do, and I will anticipate, we'll use the Cuddles for the Bear as an example. I would expect when I look at my monthly income, I will expect Cuddles for the Bear to have earned the most income for me for November. But I expect that the next 2 books down from it, second and third position, will be books 1 and 2 in the series, because some people will see this and thought, I have never heard of that series. So they may go back and buy book 1 or get it for free, because I am offering that. Actually, that's a thought. So maybe book 1 might not show up as much. But then quite often people who get books for free will then go and buy them because they're really sweet and want to help the author. Anyway, I'm probably getting a bit off track here, but definitely writing series books is a very important way for helping sales in your backlist. So that is another subtle way of marketing that just happens, and it's really handy to do. And obviously, writing good stories is also a good marketing tactic. If your reader gets to the end of your book, and then they see in that little note that you've left there that you're writing something else that's coming out in a month or 2, they're going to look for it because they really enjoyed what they've written. Or if they get to the end of your book, and even if you haven't left them a note or anything else, and why aren't you asking them for reviews? But if they turn the page, read about the author, and then go to other books by the author where they can see all the other things you have written, this is another marketing tactic. This is, you've got a happy reader. They've got to the end of the book. They want more. So you're going to tell them all the other things you've written, because that's another subtle form of marketing. Having these options there for your readers to be able to follow you and to check out something else that you have written. So that's that. But there was a couple of other things, because of course my system and what I do, I am a prolific author who does nothing else. Okay, I write. I've been doing this since 2014. This is why I can write a book a month. I grew up in the days when NaNoWriMo wasn't a curse word, and I could actually, got myself into the habit of writing so many words a day. And now I have this system, and it's flexible. It can flex. If I don't get a new release out one particular month, it's not the end of the world, but this is what I aim to do. And this system sort of backs that up. But if I decided, say, for example, my daughter and I were talking yesterday about whether or not I put a book out in January. It's the 8th of November. I haven't started anything yet, so would it be a bit of a push? But then she reminded me I had an anthology story that I had been planning to expand and never did, and put it out as its own new release. So I will probably do that. I don't know. I may go on holiday or, have a holiday at home. But okay, so what if it's your first book? What if the book you're writing now is your first book and you haven't got all this other stuff and you haven't got all these systems and you're just thinking, Lisa, I just want to promote my first book? Okay. You can still add in different items from what I've explained here before. Start talking about the book while you're still writing it. Make sure that you're joining genre-specific groups. Go looking for where your readers are. Now, I know where mine are, well, where a fair few of them are, but go looking for your readers in your genre. Join in groups, join in discussions, join in these groups well before you need them for promotion purposes. Give back. Follow, if you're not sure what groups are there, follow your favorite authors, the ones you like to read. Go and look at what they do. How do they promote? Because, of course, I'm talking about a romance genre. And, but there are countless other genres out there where this system will still work, but you just have to make the links that you collect and the groups that you belong to and everything else need to be genre specific. Okay. But then just do the same thing. Chat about your book and the research you've done. You're not being, I don't quite know how to put it without offending anybody, but you're not swanning into a space saying, hey, look what I'm doing. You're wanting to become part of the conversation. You're wanting to become part of the community. Becoming part of a community also lends yourself to other opportunities, which I haven't mentioned in this video. And as this video is already really long, I'm not going to. But there are other advantages to being in the community of readers and writers in the genre that you enjoy. So look at doing that. Get all your graphics and everything done. Maybe stick to 1 or 2 social media platforms if you're doing this all yourself, and just promote, but make it equitable. You don't want to be spamming. As I said, in 6 posts I might put out a week, only 1 of them is about the book I'm writing. And 1 of them is about the book that I've finished, that I'm promoting. But the other posts are about silly things, about my art, about something I've bought that's come in the mail, about any of the crafts I do, about my failures I can't make my own bread. Those sorts of things. Last week, I took 3 TikToks of the calves in the paddock next to my office window. That was my TikTok personal content because I didn't have anything else. Although I was taking TikToks of calves, but the thing is that you want to showcase when you're marketing, you want to be seen as a person as well, a person your readers can relate to. So the things that they're interested in are the things you want to show that you have a connection with them too. That is all part of marketing. And then I swear I haven't got much more to go, but yeah, I'm getting there. Okay. For those of you who say, I can't write a book a month, you don't have to. I don't have a life. That's why I do. And I do realize it's hard work. But for me, it's habit. It's something I do now. It's just what I do. Okay. But all you need to do is take the same system advice that I've given you and stretch it out so that the pre-writing process might be 2 or 3 months. During the writing process might be 6 to 8 months, whatever. I don't know how long it takes for you to write a book, but just stretch each of those segments out. Your book might be on pre-order for longer, and then you might promote your book for longer after it's gone live. Just stretch it out. Fill it in and make it fit into a timeline that works for you. But the system itself stays the same. Talking about the book before you start writing it, talking about the book while you're writing it, then putting your book up on pre-order and promoting your book for however long, and then again, that promotion when the book goes live thereafter. Okay? It's still the same system, just takes longer time. Whatever works for you. And finally, I wanted to just make a couple of exceptions. A couple of exceptional authors came to my attention, or have done over the last couple of years, because I've always said that to make a living as an author, you can't do that off of one book. And I still think why I say that, I am partially right. But because we're talking about marketing, I wanted to mention somebody, an author that is here on YouTube, Jill Barrett. And she wrote her book. I thought I had it handy, but I did buy it. Just Stab Me Now. And she did her earnings figures over the last 2 years for her book. She did a video about that just recently, so maybe go back and look for that. If I can remember, I'll put a link for it in the description below. But she's made over £100,000 in the last 2 years from her one book. But her way of marketing was absolutely unique, in my opinion. She built her audience first. She was making little shorts. I don't know if they were TikTok shorts or YouTube shorts or whatever, but she was making little shorts about an author who was having issues with her heroine, who wasn't kind of playing the game and wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. And the book is actually a book about that. It's not actually the heroine's story. It is about, she did this whole series of videos about it, and, you know, complete with the costumes and the makeup and everything. They were so funny and they were really relatable. And she kept doing these videos and people were sort of saying, well, where's the book? She hadn't written one. She has now. She's been out for 2 years. And as I say, it's called Just Stab Me Now. And yes, she has done phenomenally well. All completely, you know, self-published. She has done really well. But she built her audience first and then promoted her book. She already had the audience waiting for it. They were asking her for it. And the funny thing is I belong to her Patreon, and she has started doing another series of videos, which I've seen that she's also got on her YouTube, about a space heroine this time, having conversations with the author. They are hilarious. They are really funny. And although she said she probably won't do a book for this one, I think she probably will, purely and simply because her market is already, you know, her readers are already keen to see it. They already want to read it. They already want to buy it, and it hasn't even been written yet. So there are people who can, really unique creators, very talented creators who can do things like that. But the other person I wanted to mention is another author in my genre, Onley James, who is known for writing quite high spice, I don't know if they're a dark romance, but I'm only saying that because I don't know what a dark romance is. But she is a very talented writer who has got numerous series under her belt. But I did notice that she makes, like, she doesn't have to put books out very often because she puts a lot of content out for her Patreons. So she has a very stable and quite lucrative Patreon income. And so she does things like that. And by having that, by collecting her readers in one place, readers who are happy to pay a few dollars every month to be able to see behind the scenes and get ficlets and what have you done, all in the Patreon, she makes that monthly income, which helps ease out those highs and lows that you get from putting books out, and then they drop off the rankings, and then you've got to put out another book to boost your earnings back up again as well. Now, she is a very established author. It took her a while to build her audience, but when she did, she has done a marvelous job of hanging on to them just by virtue of what's the word I'm looking for? The extra content she provides to her Patreons, which is not seen in public. It's all behind a paywall. And I think that's really clever. So again, that's something else. It's another marketing thing. And when we think about it, we are marketing because we want to sell our books. And those were just two creators that I happened to be thinking of as I was writing all my notes, that have actually done something a bit different. And I suppose I wanted to add that in because I wanted to let you know that being a bit different works out okay as well. Just quickly, with paid advertising, because I know I'm going to get asked about it. Facebook, no, not for me. My Facebook account got hacked 3 times. I paid 400 USDs for a freaking ads I didn't even place on my account. I will not put my payment information in my Facebook anymore. Amazon, yes, I haven't done it recently, but what I like about Amazon is that you can be a lot more targeted. You can do cost per click, which I think is really valuable, and you can keep an eye on your return on investment. And if it's not too high, if it's not working for you, you can tweak your ads really easily. I have done paid blog tours in the past. I haven't done any for a couple of years, purely and simply because the amount of work that goes into creating the content to do the tours in the first place. But if you can find somebody, or you see other of your favorite authors using a specific company to do blog tours, then maybe look at investing in that once or twice. I don't know any other options of paid advertising that aren't social media platforms or book platforms. But if anybody knows of anything else, then definitely let me know about it in the comments below. But that's it. My mouth is so dry, but I have come to the end of 5 pages worth of notes. This video is almost 50 minutes long. I really hope it wasn't too much. I hope I didn't go off track too much. If you've got specific questions, or you feel like I haven't outlined things clearly, or there's bits I've missed in my system, I'm sure, as you're aware, if you do a job and you're just used to doing it, it can be sometimes difficult to explain to other people how it's done because there's so many things you take for granted. I'm quite prepared to put up my hand and say, hey, that I might have done this in this video, but I have tried to be as comprehensive as possible. I have tried to be as specific as possible. I have tried to show you ways where the system I use can fit for you, because my end goal with this channel is basically so that you can live a lifestyle the way I do, basically living off the income from my books. And unfortunately, writing the books is only one half of the equation, because marketing, and marketing effectively, is definitely the other way. Marketing on a budget is even more interesting, which is why all of the things I have mentioned today are free. Just takes time, my friends, just takes time. But I believe in you. I believe you can do this. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below, because I will respond. If anybody's still here, can you please give yourself a pat on the back and a huge thank you, because my watch time is still suffering. So hopefully this video might help. That's if I've made it interesting enough for people to keep listening this long. If you're interested in more like this, I have long form content on Mondays and Thursdays. And I also have playlists. I will put the marketing playlist around here. And I think YouTube will probably put a video up that they think you might be interested of mine in the other slot. But keep writing, my friends. I so badly need a drink. And by the way, did I mention Cuddles for the Bear is on pre-order? Till next time, my friends, keep writing. Bye.